Welcome! This week, the civil-military coordination was examined from a humanitarian and peace and security perspective with the aim of linking policy and guidance with practical experience on the ground. To this end, frontline coordinators contributed their testimonies to the debate through a series of videos and the 2 weekly webinars. The first learning of the week was the understanding of the UN-CMCoord concept as essential civil-military dialogue and interaction in humanitarian emergencies, and the importance of keeping in mind that coordination is a shared responsibility. We were then able to further distinguish UN-CMCoord from other military concepts and understand what the three main tasks of UN-CMIC are. To realize that three key tasks of coordination, it was first necessary to know the spectrum of coordination between cooperation and coexistence. Just a reminder, the three coordination components are information sharing, task division, and planning. Also, humanitarians and the military have different reasons and ways of collecting information. To provide a dignified response, certain elements must be shared. The task division will be different if we act in a sudden onset disaster or a complex emergency setting. Humanitarian assistance can be supported by the military in three categories: direct assistance, or the cookie, face-to-face distributions of goods and services. Indirect assistance, or the truck, facilitates the arrival of direct assistance to the population, and infrastructure support, or the bridge, where the military is an added value. As part of the planning, a common operational picture, who does what, where, and until when, is crucial to avoid duplication and maximize aid effectiveness. During the webinar, and based on the experience of the frontline coordinators, 5 tasks were presented in order to achieve good coordination and, most importantly, to provide an efficient and effective response.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. But just as an overview, really when we're talking about these individual 5 CMCoord tasks, these are really just a framework because we all know that it's highly contingent on the situation, on the operating environment. It depends on all of the various relevant actors. Certainly highly dependent on if it's in rapid onset disaster or slow onset, or certainly a complex emergency. It's going to add a lot of different dimensions.
Experience in Central African Republic with a change of personnel every 3 to 6 months, the need to be transparent why and for what purpose to direct the civil-military coordination dialogue down to the local level and to keep the focus on the objectives to be achieved was highlighted. Through the experience of the Philippines in the Mindanao region, it was shown how they work to generate information exchange mechanisms based on a mutual understanding of the objective that each must achieve. The third task was illustrated through the experience in Israel, where examples of critical areas of interaction were shown, such as humanitarian advocacy, where it is important to take into account the 4 humanitarian principles, humanitarian protection, which puts people in human rights at the center, and humanitarian assistance. As a fourth task, the response offered in the Philippines in the context of COVID from the HCT in coordination with the military was the key to understanding that each situation is unique, but that guidelines must be created that are adapted to the context, and that this must be done with the participation of all key actors. And to understand how the distinction is maintaining and avoid a negative impact on humanitarian actions, we return to the Central African Republic, where it was advised to have a collective responsibility and to know the objective and interest of each actor beforehand. In the second webinar, we explored the UN-CMCoord liaison arrangement and the guidance framework.
The humanitarians and the military, they co-locate within a centralized facility or the same facility, and information exchange, discussions, and operational tasking happen within that group. within our liaison exchange, this is where the humanitarians send a liaison officer across to the military side of the ship, and the military team sends a liaison officer across the humanitarian side of the ship. You can see just by those examples the type of event and where it sits within that spectrum of cooperation and coexistence.
And we also had time to delve into the effective communication in UN-CMCoord's work and to exchange with our partners on how best to do this. See you next week!